What's up, Rob? So I am Joey Dots. Today is September 14th, 2023, and I'm here with Robin. How do you pronounce your last name? Posada?
Posada, that's right. You got it right.
Rob Posada, SMP by Rob.
That's right.
And so before we start, where are you located, Rob?
So I'm located in San Dimas, California, and it's in between LA County and San Bernardino County.
Okay.
Right.
Did you grow up there?
I did grow up in this area. Brought my family about 12 years ago to this area, and I grew up not too far from this area.
Okay.
Right.
Always in California?
Always in California, correct.
Okay, you're a California boy.
Yeah.
Okay. And so before we go into your backstory, like when did you get into SMP?
I got into it actually 1 year this month. This month is when I took my class. And previous to that, I was looking into, for myself, because I'm completely bald, obviously, either hair transplant, some kind of way of, covering the baldness, obviously. And so that's when I got into it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. There's a class nearby. Let's do it.
So did you get your SMP on your head first and then you were like, screw it, I want to learn how to do this as well? Or did you learn and then get the SMP on your head?
So the little backstory behind that, a few months before I took the class, my wife was like, you know what, you're in the medical field. Why don't you look into this? Maybe this is something that it's in your, it would be easy for you to learn, which it was. And so, like you said, I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna go under any treatment and I'm gonna be, selling it to people, I gotta do it, So
gotta own your product, right?
That's right. So I'm a walking billboard, basically, Yeah. It's like people, sometimes they get a little offended. I see it in their face and they're cracking in their voice, And I'm like, look, by the way, I have it. No, you don't. I was like, look, I get close to them and they see it. They're like, whoa, here's my card. Boom. The rest is
history. A lot of people never seen it in person, right? And who did your procedure?
They have not seen it. It was Luis Majestic, partner of Taylor Perry.
Okay. You went to Florida to get it done?
He actually came to Redondo Beach, kind of around where you were.
Oh, you did that? Okay, you did that class?
Yeah, he came, and I told my wife, look, he's here, and let's do it. And she's like, okay, go for it. And the rest is history. He did. It was Majestic who did the treatment initially, and I was ecstatic. I was just like, you see people when they get it right after, their faces are all lit up. It's like, oh my God, I have a hairline.
Yeah. But I mean, that was, so during the class, you could probably only get one session, right? Who did he do your second session or third, or how'd that go?
So the second session was done by another local artist. And then my third and my, like, a little bit of touch up was Jeff Picasso here in LA.
Oh, so you went to Jeff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So who was your second person? Am I allowed to know?
So my second person, his name is Sergio. He's also in LA.
Okay.
He just followed the hairline and he did, he did what he had to do. And then with Jeff, he was kind of doing a mentorship program. And that's when I feel like my level of like expertise, hairlines, color theory, all that good stuff, just kind of got all together. I was able to ask questions what I couldn't ask, at other artists. I would reach out to Taylor and he would answer we were in the group chat and he would answer my questions, but actually being there with, with Jeff, that really like brought my game up 100%.
And I mean, he's doing it, so you're probably picking his brain the whole time.
Definitely, yeah. He's like, can you
free
like
training?
Exactly. He's doing this thing, and he's like, can you not move? Can you not? Because I'm like, ecstatic. It's like, wow, he brought my hairline down. He did the mixture of the ink, and I'm just picking his brain, like you said,
So were you the SMP model for Majestic for Luis?
Mm-hmm. For Luis, correct.
And you were in the class.
And I was in the class, yeah. So they
and you were like, hey, I'm volunteer.
even before that, I reached out to Stefani. I think that was his assistant back then, and I was like, you know what? I really would love to be the model and also take the class. And like, okay, let's do it. Showed up, I already had my head shaved, and just they did the lineup, and rest is history.
Nice. So, but one thing is, I immediately you had to pay three times, right? Three different people.
Basically, and yeah, basically, because I wasn't gonna go to Miami. It was just,
Yeah, it's
around
expensive.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah,
And then we have
yeah,
it's five of us. We go to Virginia to visit our brother-in-law. My brother-in-law. Oh my goodness, it's up there. It's so expensive.
yeah. You have your wife and you got three kids.
And three kiddos, yeah. Bobby, Shania, and Elijah.
How old?
9, 8, and 5.
Oh wow. Okay, nice. So they're all nice, close in age as well.
That's right.
So you got your SMP. You did the training. What did you do before this? Before
So
SMP?
So currently, a little history about myself. I'm a surgical tech. I've been working as a surgical tech for the last going on 16 years, from like little hospitals to big hospitals, surgical centers from Beverly Hills, Hollywood, all over the place. And I figured, since I'm in the medical field, maybe I have a leg up in getting in the door with some of these doctors, some of these plastic surgeons, and that's a little backstory of myself.
And that makes sense. It makes total sense. So what's it like being a surgical tech? So what are you doing? You're in there with them, or are you with
Mm-hmm.
the equipment?
Basically, like if you're my doctor, you're coming in. I'm setting up the whole OR operating room from the beginning to the end. Um, so as you progress in your career, and I could see how I'm doing with SMP too. Let's got micropigmentation. As a surgical tech, as you progress in your career, you start challenging yourself. It's like, okay, I want to do this specialty. I want to do that specialty. So right now I'm at a level 1 trauma hospital at Harbor UCLA. It could be all types of emergencies, gunshots, people getting ran over, everything. We see it all, and we have to be ready within seconds. And so I could see like myself, okay, but Scalp micropigmentation, what can I do to level up? I need to get
Yeah,
mentorship. Go ahead and do it. I need to get a new ink. I need to do it. You know what I mean? So I have to keep pushing myself forward, and going on podcasts with you, and just speaking to people all over all these industries, PMU industry. I mean, I reach out to people all the time. I comment on so many guys pictures, and hey, let's meet up, let's have lunch, and people are willing to do that, so I'm always reaching out for people.
hey, I think you're naturally a great marketer. I just want to put that out. For only being in this for about a year, for coming up on a year, I mean, you're naturally a good marketer, getting your word. I
Oh,
think
thank
it's
you.
very important to basically create engagement, right? Because
Hmm.
it's the industry is getting more. I'll say it's growing. I'll say it's
Hmm.
growing. I don't want to say it's saturated because I don't think it's totally saturated yet because it's
No,
still in
no.
its infancy and it's
Correct, correct.
growing. And in order to put yourself out there, you got to make yourself known. And I think you're doing a great job with that.
Oh,
Really,
thank you,
really,
Joe.
really good job.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, what I want to go back because your job's unique.
Hmm.
So, are you making sure everything's sanitary? Are you
Hmm.
putting down all the barrier film? Like
All
walk
that.
me through
So,
like what you do. You scram. I mean, if something they're coming in, do you
mhm.
preset it like just in case there's an emergency, or do you just wait to hear like an ambulance call?
Oh
How
yeah.
does that all work?
So in the setting that I'm at, there's an elevator. The elevator is one floor down from that where the ambulances are coming in. Think of it like, a whole row of ambulances that could come in at one time. Like the other day we had this crazy car crash. It was like 8 people, 5 kids, 3 adults, and some didn't make it, some did, and the ones that did, you have to do all emergency. They had bowel ruptures, they had all this craniotomies, broken bones, bones are sticking. I mean, think of it as a crazy car crash, and so you have literally less than 10 minutes to set up your room, and of course you have to
Jesus.
do it as much as you can sanitary, like you said. We're just throwing betadine on them and putting them to sleep and then putting the drip and go to work. You know what I mean? But
Wow.
those are like for like severe patients that have like internal bleeding. They're completely out. and the doctor just asks for the knife. When we go to town, we see where the bleeding is at. Next, you know what I mean? And they go to another room. We go to another room, especially if you're in a specialty setting. Like I'm vascular, so
Uh-huh.
if another surgical tech doesn't know vascular in another room, I have to run over there. And vice versa. If I don't know ortho, another ortho has to relieve me because I don't know this and all that. You know, because you have to be on your game with that. And I feel like I'm doing the same thing with surgical with SMP. Like, what's next? You know, oh, I want to go
Yeah.
into microblading. I want to do it PMU. I want to. I'm telling you, I'm like hungry. And I told my wife, this is the best time to teach me or to teach anybody if they're hungry. You know, they're hungry for whatever it is. You know, I get students as a surgical tech, and then I just watch them how they set up and everything. I was like, okay, what would you do if there's an emergency coming? You have to pick it up. You know, I want to
Mhm.
see that hunger, and if I don't feel comfortable with that person, I'm sorry, go with somebody else. Go do pimple popping. I don't know. You know, it's just it's very intense. You know, and I love the adrenaline. It's very short lived, and that's what I tell kind of my clients that are very uh, antsy about needles and all that stuff. The sensation of the needles is very short lived, you know, and some of them fall asleep, you know.
So, Rob, you have three kids, and you're
Yes, sir.
doing great. With the I'm assuming right now you're still work. I'm assuming you're still working full time as a surgical tech and doing
Hmm.
SMP on the side, like most people. You can't just transition.
Hmm.
How are you doing it? Where are you doing it out of, and how's that going?
So the Scalp micropigmentation, I'm doing that out of a local salon, a solo salon. I had my own little studio, and actually, my wife was the one that said, you know what, it's time. You did the training, you did your models. Now it's time for you to. That's my rock there. My wife is she's always pushing me to okay, what's next? You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
I sometimes pause on certain things, but she goes, go for it. You know, you're able to do it, we'll survive, and so I'm doing it out of a studio, like 10 minutes away from my house.
Okay, and they just charge you rent or something, or by
Hmm.
customer.
But
See, this is good for people to
least
hear who are still in the phase that you're in, because I'm assuming, I'm just guessing, that eventually you want to phase out of the surgical tech and just do SMP full time, right?
correct, correct. Among other things, yeah. Like my main focus is going to be scalp micropigmentation
Uh,
training, and also like yourself, like you're a trailblazer. You're doing microblading. You know, you're doing other PMU treatments. That's where I want to eventually branch out. You know what I mean? So yeah.
good, good. I love to hear that. And what do you think? Well, first let's back up. So you're from El Salvador.
Correct.
What
Mhm.
was it like? How old were you when you came over?
They brought us when I was 7. My brother was 6, and my sister was like 5ish. 5, yeah.
Okay, and how old are you now?
I'm 44.
Okay, so you've been here for most of your life. I mean, a long,
Correct.
longer
Hmm.
than I have. And did you speak English before you got here?
No English, no English. It was a.
How did you learn?
Oh, so the
I
story.
find it
Uh,
fascinating
uh,
how people
the
learn English.
and the funny story is like I remember specifically. My mom was like, "Okay, let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go get our shots, our vaccine. Okay, let's go get our vaccines. There's the bus, the yellow bus. Get your butt to school." It was like a hard knock. I mean, I was going to private school back in El Salvador. Very
Uh-huh.
structured, very structured. You have to get your tie and everything. Your hair has to be cut. And then when I hit school, it was like everybody's just dressing like whatever. Nails are nasty. It was just I couldn't believe it. It was all out of order. And to me, it was a shock. And especially no English. So then we hang out with the Spanish kids, and then eventually uh, just watch a lot of TV cartoons and get extra help from the teachers. And that's how I learned
Did they
English.
have any programs? It's funny you say that the cartoons, because I've talked to so many people who are bilingual. A lot of them say they learned English from watching TV.
Watching TV, correct? That's right.
It's crazy.
It's
It's
crazy, yeah, because
crazy.
that's all there was. And then if there was Spanish cartoons, they wouldn't match. The voice, the lips wouldn't match. So then I'll just switch it over. And then my younger brother and sister they were picking it up even faster, the English. So I was like, you know what, just follow what they do,
Okay. And so, was it hard for you and your family to get adjusted coming to the U.S.? I mean, if you walked over, did your dad or mom already have a job lined up? Did you have cousins here?
Oh yeah,
What did you do?
yeah. There was an elder aunt, and she'd been here maybe like 15, 20 years before us. So she paved the way. She had her own business. We actually worked in the business. It was in the restaurant business. This business, the restaurant was in Long Beach. And funny, now that I think and then like look back, it was literally down the street from Jesse James, the what do you call it? The bicycle,
Motorcycle guy?
motorcycle. Yeah, the motorcycle guy. Yeah, it was literally down the street from. I forget the name of the. I can't think of the name of the shop that they had when he was here in Long Beach, and now
Uh,
he's in Texas. It was literally down the street, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, where are these guys coming in? All tatted out and stuff, and
yeah.
ordering pupusas, and like all traditional Salvadorian meals." And I was a kid, I was like 8, 9 years old, and it didn't click on me on my mind until like I was in my 20s, and then I started getting to like the showbiz and all that good stuff that was around.
So you were just happy to be in the U.S. Sounds like, and you were just like,
Oh yeah,
just taking
ecstatic.
everything in. So Rob, you after high school, you graduate high school, you
Hmm.
go to college for a couple years, and then you're like, college isn't really working out, so you decide you need to go to some type of trade school. How do
Hmm.
you proceed from there?
And then that's when I went into a surgical tech school, and um, I was in I was 24, 25, 24, 25, and then right after you do your training, you hope and pray that you get picked up by a hospital or surgical center. And I was very blessed that where I did my training, they liked me, they liked my work ethic, and then I was there for God so many years, maybe like 14 years. And that's when I met my wife across the street at a surgical center.
Oh
We
wow,
started courting and started going out together, and getting to know each other. And then about a year after we met, we got married, moved into our home after that, and we've been together for 12 years.
wow,
So it was very,
wow!
very fast.
For a year, and you guys been together that long. That's awesome.
12 years. 12
That's
years.
rare. That's a rare find. She must be good.
Oh,
You must be good.
yeah.
Um, so you're at the center. So did she work at the surgical center with you? You said she was across the street. Does she do the same type of work or?
She did a medical assisting, taking
Okay.
vital signs, drawing blood, doing paperwork, and after we met, she they had a big layoff at that place, and you know she was really upset about that. And long story short, we decided it's like, what, this is a sign. It's like,
Hmm.
we need to move forward. I could always work two jobs, and then I was like, I was already doing basically two jobs doing the major hospital and surgical centers. And
Hmm.
so I was like, just stay home with, hopefully we start having kids. I mean, we got married and we popped out our first kid right away. I mean, we got married and boom, we had Bobby, and then Shania after that. 2 years later, Elijah. And when my wife was pregnant with Elijah, she's like, I need to go to school. And then she became a nurse in
Oh
three and a half
wow.
years, very fast. I mean, she was just
So your wife gave birth to three kids, and then she's like, "Screw it, I'm going to become a nurse," and then goes to nursing school.
become a nurse. She goes to nursing
Dude, and
school.
it's hard. I
Three and
hear
a
that
half
school's
years.
really hard.
She got her bachelor's degree in 3.5 years. That's unknown. That's like because she was so dedicated. She was like, um, I need to start a career, um, and provide and help you especially, so you could quit your second job because it was tough doing two jobs for about 9 years. It was man, it was tough. It was really tough.
I'm sorry. And what
Hardly
was
home.
the other job? So you were surgical tech, and what was the other thing?
Working at a surgical center doing
Uh,
plastic surgeries from all types of plastic surgeries from like facelift, hair transplant, breast augmentation, mommy makeovers, you name it. It was nonstop, nonstop. And most of those places they pay like cash, so it was pretty cool.
they pay
I
cash.
had, yeah, it was really cool, yeah, because they don't want to deal with most of them. Not giving out too many secrets. Most of them do get paid like that way, so they just rather. And a good majority of them, like I want to say, like 80% of them did pay me through check. Is those it was those occasions when they couldn't find somebody, so then they were on, we need to find a surgical tech, we need it right now, and then they just call me, hey, can you work for 5 hours at this rate? I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So you were doing surgical tech stuff for two different companies.
Correct.
Okay, that's where I got a little confused. That makes sense. Okay. So is your wife working right now?
Yeah,
like
she
not
does.
physically, like she's not a stay-at-home mom, is what I'm getting at.
She's not a stay-home mom, no.
Okay. Okay. And do you work at night, or how's your schedule? So because you're doing the like you're working on your regular job and then you're doing the SMP, what's your daily schedule routine like? How's that?
So we're on 12-hour schedules, 8-hour schedules. We're since the pandemic hit, we transitioned from employees to hospitals to actual contractors. So we travel assignments with an outside company. The outside company looks for, hospital A is over here is hiring, for 13 weeks at this rate. Do you want it? Yes or no? And then if the price is right and then the times are right, then we do it. So we titter totter on our time. I go from 3 to 11. She goes from 7 p 7 a sometimes. So our times,
Wow.
we're there. We can move them around basically. So if I have a client, like I have a consultation yesterday, and he wants to do it. He wants to do the treatment this coming up Saturday. I'll just move my schedule around. So we have that flexibility. If you're an employee of a hospital, it's very hard to do so. But we're like contractors basically. We set our own schedule, which is
And you
nice.
get paid a little more, right?
And we get paid. Oh yeah, because we're
You get
still,
paid more doing. I know some nurse contractors, and I know they get paid a lot more. The problem is sometimes you don't have the benefits, but if you're getting the
you
benefits
don't.
somewhere else,
Yeah,
you're good.
you're good. Yeah, there's so many companies that are out here for insurance, for retirement. I mean, I'm doing. Thank goodness I'm blessed to do everything for us. Like the medical, the retirement, the kids. College and all that stuff. So I'm very blessed because I'm always asking people. I'm always asking questions. If I have a doubt about something, I'll figure it out.
Well, if I'll tell you what I do, what I had to do. So I work. I know you've seen a little bit about my story, but I was working at the bank, and I won't go into too much detail, but I was working for JP Morgan before that, an engineering company. Did that for like 10 years and transitioned into doing scalp micropigmentation. And when I finally stopped working for JP Morgan, I'm like, fuck, dude, I got my son on the way. I got my wife. I got me. Who's gonna pay for the medical benefits? Now I could have got them through my wife, but what I ended up actually doing is I ended up getting Obamacare. I didn't even know about it, so Obamacare is actually saving my ass right now.
Yeah.
Obamacare is it's so if you're a small business owner, Obamacare, it does work. I will vouch for that. It does work. It helps because there's a lot of people. Like I have friends who are scared to go out on their own. They're like, how am I going to pay for my medical benefits? Because this shit gets expensive.
It does. With the oh my goodness, yeah. Especially the little ones, you're constantly going and paying the deduct. Trying to reach that deductible and the in office. It gets pricey.
Yeah, and you feel like, hey, I'm a grown man. I don't really even need if I have to, I don't need medical insurance, whatever. But you got to have it for your kids. You got to have it for the kids.
Definitely.
It's just be a guilt, if you didn't.
They go through a season of like everybody's sick, everybody's not sick, everybody's sick.
How'd you guys deal? How did you guys deal with the COVID situation? Were you all right? I mean,
especially. Luckily, the hospitals were still open. I was off of work for a few months because my mom was getting sick. She was usually one that takes care of her kiddos, or my mother-in-law, and they were getting sick. So I said, you know what? Let me just stay home. Let me just stay home with them for a few months. I stopped working. I quit my job. They couldn't believe it, at work. But she got onto the contracts, and they were insanely paying her a lot. I mean, insane. I know people were coming from other states to California because they were paying so much, And so we dealt with it good, thank goodness. We survived, and then as soon as things were letting up, I went back to work. I went back to work.
Did you go back to the same company?
No, then I started doing traveling.
Okay, okay. Because
Yeah,
because is that the place you worked at for 14 years? You said.
correct. Hmm.
Okay. Now, if you wanted to go back, would they have taken you?
Probably, but joy is
You
like
weren't
when
trying to do it.
yeah, when you start getting paid the way that I'm getting paid, it's like, especially like, I'm gonna throw in with the Scalp micropigmentation. When I'm getting paid now, it's like I don't I want to transition from being a tech, to be honest with you. Having my
Okay.
four to five clients a week, I am happy. I am totally happy, Even less, I'm very happy with that. So that's my transition. But we did
Have you?
make it out of. Mhm.
Sorry. Have you found that because you're in LA, you're like in the LA area? You messaged me. Yeah, I was in Santa Monica this
Yeah.
weekend, surprising my friend.
Oh, that's
I was
nice.
only there from Friday to Sunday.
Oh,
Uh,
gotcha.
yeah, and my trip was basically free. I mean, I had I used my points, my Southwest
Dope,
points. So,
dope.
and then I stayed at his condo. But I like California. But my question is there a lot of artists? Obviously, you got Jeff, Picasso
Mhm.
Jeff, and Cat. Cat's a phenomenal artist
Oh
out
my goodness,
there,
yeah.
and they're doing their thing. I mean, who else is out there, and is it very competitive, or how's it looking?
It's looking great. Like I have contact with so many. I feel like the guys that are in my area, in my driving area within an hour. They're very reachable, very accessible. I feel like they're all my mentors, because I'm a noob to the industry, and I'm always constantly picking their brain. So I do feel like there are some big guys here, and I'm very thankful to be friends with them. We have Gabriel at Precise, SMP, and San Gabe in San Bernardino. We have my friend Sergio in LA, also Oscar from Scalp Micro LA. There's there's so many guys in Stockton. There's Tino. I mean, there's a variety of artists around here, and I do feel like the people that are coming up very slowly. They're getting their name out there, And I was telling them is like reach out to people, and communicate. Go take a pic. Go pick their brain. Go take a picture with them. And see if they have mentorship. If why not? You're investing in yourself basically. If you pay a little change here or there, for a day, you're investing in yourself.
I agree. I agree. That's good. You have a good mindset. Uh, you have a really good mindset. Where did you develop that in the learning and the hunger? How do you think you uh, gained that?
I think it has to attribute to my experience in the operating room, because I will see doctors, that were about to retire, and I will pick their brain and say, "Oh, what would you do differently? What would you do this? Oh, I will go into aesthetics. I will do, I will open a med spa. I will open something that alleviate me being here all the time, because they had to be there, they were on a contract, and so I will kind of tag along with the plastic surgeons, and that's when I became really good friends with Dr. Lawton Tang in Pasadena, a great plastic surgeon, and also Dr. Robert Milanes in Orange County. Very good surgeons, and cosmetic surgeons as well. And that's I feel like seeing how they started and where they're at today. I was like, yeah, obviously they have a medical degree. I don't, but I have ambitions. I have goals. And if I could slowly climb my way up there, and follow their success, that I know I'll be there one day. And having mentors, and reaching out to you, and oh my goodness, it's just I feel like this is the beginning stages of this industry, and I'm just
Yeah.
slowly climbing up.
Good. Hey, every day. Success leaves clues, right? So you're following what the successful people are doing. You learn from them, and you add, and
Mhm.
build onto your own skill set. Yeah, you seem very ambitious. I like that. You don't seem like a person who's getting into it just to say, oh, I'm doing SMP, like money hungry, and just, trying to screw people over, basically. You come off as a
No,
very
no, no.
genuine guy.
Yeah, I feel like when you step out of that realm of like, oh, I'm just going for the money, and you actually helping people where you're supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
God really does bless you, because you're basically sticking out your hands like this towards God, not
Yeah.
pulling and trying to take things, the money will come. That's the way I feel. Like friendships like with you, I'll have a friendship with you, with anybody artist around here. The money will come. I don't, it
It's
does
better
pay the
not to
bills.
make enemies, right? And not one, you don't want to make other people upset, right? Because you're so focused on what you're doing anyway. But I
Hmm.
do think I see people create unnecessary drama for themselves. Unfortunately, it seems
Correct,
like
correct.
you are not doing that, which is great. I love to see that. What do you think one of the biggest challenges is, aside from like time management, uh, which is obviously you kind of got a little something going. At least you have some flexibility with your job. What do you think the biggest challenge is becoming an SMP artist, becoming a full time SMP artist, and just getting better at your skills?
I think having your own like studio, that is it does help your mind. Okay, you know what? I could start doing content. I could start filming content. I could start showing my little studio, see how I clean things up, how I set things up. I think that is one of the biggest challenges, is that the first 3 months I was like, okay, I'm doing content here from my house, or I will go to somebody else's studio, It wouldn't feel the same, like something that necessarily that you own, but it's your own space, So having your own space to be creative, I think a lot of artists don't have. And actually, an artist that graduated uh, from a cat here in LA, SMP by Cat. He reached out to me. His name is Ivan, and he's like, "Oh, nice studio. You mind if I shadow with you or come? Oh yeah, come on." And I had a client that day, and I was doing my thing. And he's like, after the session, he was like, "Oh, do you mind if I could join you here?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead, man." It's like, pay me per day, pay me per session. You have your clients come in, go ahead, why not? And so, and then you can see how his eyes light up. How I felt the same way. It's like, oh, I have my own little area, and I go, bro, this is your spot. When I'm not here, here's the keys. Go for it. Just clean up after yourself. I'll put you
Yeah,
on
that's really
insurance
nice. Yeah, that's good for you, man.
because
But you're right.
somebody.
You're
Mhm,
100% right. Doing it out
mhm.
of your house, I know what it's like. It's not ideal. And once you get your own space, you're like, oh shit. And then when you have your key to a place that's somewhere you rent, it was like, it almost felt like I had my own apartment, a secret apartment,
Yeah,
if that made sense, away,
your
which
man
I
cave,
kind of
yeah.
like. Yeah, yeah, I really did felt like that. I mean, a couple of times, because I was in the middle of the move. Um, so in
Mhm.
2019, I moved to the new house that I'm at, but I had a basement at my
Congrats.
first location, and I put all my boxes, a lot of TVs, so I didn't have to pay for two storage units. I would just use
Mhm.
that location. So I invited my friends over a couple different weekends, and we watched football at the
There
shop.
you go.
I just moved everything in the waiting room, and I was like, whatever. There's no rules against this. It was on a Sunday. The parking lot wasn't packed or whatever. We drank a little bit, so why not?
Why
Right?
not? That's
You're
right.
renting it. Why not have fun?
That's right. That's right. But
Um,
but going back to that, yeah, going back to that, Joy, is that I think um, connecting with somebody, even with Gabriel and Precise SMP, he offered me, he's like, yeah, why don't you just, when you're done with your lease, come over here. I have an extra room. I'm like, we'll see, my friend. But having that connection with some other artists, I think, or even getting your own spot by yourself, a very small spot, I think that helps your mind. Like, okay, I'm doing this.
Yeah, and you want to make sure you're making it. My thought process the first time was, let me, if I can make one sale a month, I could cover the rent, the internet, the
Boom,
utilities,
boom.
and basically I was thinking I'll do it for free, but eventually it won't be free anymore. But
Hmm.
at least I have my own spot, and you feel better about that.
Hmm.
Totally
Correct,
agree. I
correct.
totally agree. Um, how do you feel? Excuse me. How do you feel about the SMP industry as a whole? Have you found that the people you talk to know what SMP is, or do you have to educate people? What's that like?
I have to educate a lot of people. The younger guys, meaning like in 18
20s.
to like 20s, they kind of know about it because they get bombarded with social media and all this advertising. But like the 20 and above, they have no idea. Either they're not online completely. I have to show them pictures, and like, here's my QR code. Or I have to like sit there and educate them. I'm a very like, I have a business card and I'm a little flipper. I don't have my little business card here holder. But if I see somebody that, obviously going bald, I very politely, give them the card. Oh, what is this? And I educate them. And some of them do take the time. Oh, can you explain to me? And then, a good like 20% will become my clients, which is, pretty low numbers, but at least I'm
No,
talking
that's
about it.
good, dude.
I'm
Hey,
being,
if you go up
I'm
to
being about
100
it.
people and you get 20,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah. No, believe me, Joy, like I run out of cards all the time, and not only for men, but I also pass them out to the women. If obviously if I see them, like at the gym, that's the perfect. I love the gym. That's like my perfect spot to promote it. Oh, your husband or your boyfriend, he looks like he's losing hair. Not to be insulting, but this is an option, and if he doesn't want to do this route, there's other routes. I'm connected with plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgeon. There's always a solution. Oh no, he's fine, bald. He's fine, dear. He's fine now. But okay, you want to keep him like that.
I like
But a
that
good
you said
majority.
that.
Mhm.
Sorry to cut you off, but I like that you said not to be offensive, right? Because
Mhm.
I found it's a little going up to another bald guy is, in my opinion, easy to do. Talk about SMP, although some of them don't want to recognize it. Guys who are just standing on top and they're doing the comb over, or they're still in denial, whatever you want to call it, they get a little offended.
Oh
Women,
yeah,
that's even that's dangerous waters.
yeah,
And
it is.
and at first I was trying. I'm not sure if you had your wife give out your cards or you thought about, but I was like, man, you have a woman coming up to a bald guy giving out a card. I just don't think it's going to go so well. They're going to be self conscious. It's
That's right.
you know. So I started
They
leaving
start
them. I don't
turning
know if you
red
saw.
right here.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
Uh-huh.
they're going to be embarrassed. I would leave them on the back of urinals. You ever try doing that? Go in the bathroom, put your card on the back of
Ooh,
urinals, in
that's
the back of
smart.
toilets,
That's smart.
um,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
door and the stall, because then they're forced to look at it. You know. And so I
That's
do
right.
that.
They're like,
I do it every the gym, airports, wherever I'm going. I'm dropping a card on there
Joey, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. I love it.
because it's subtle, right? And they're like, "Oh shit,
It's
what the
very
fuck
subtle.
is it?" You know.
Yeah, what the heck, exactly. I mean, if I would myself didn't know about it and I saw that, or somebody came up to me, I'll definitely hit them up, Knowing what I know now, if anybody would have done that, years, since this treatment has been out for so many years now, I would have jumped on it, done my research, and then jumped on it.
Good. And I mean, how long? This is a question for a lot of new SMP artists, and not everybody's different, right? How long did it take for you to get a paying customer?
So, Joy, you're not gonna believe it, but I was very blessed. My first client was my first paid client, and I was like, I told my wife, "Look, I got paid." It was my first client.
Best feeling, right?
Best feeling, and he just needed a hairline. He just wanted a hairline, and but I did the whole head. Obviously, next just gonna do the hairline. And he was ecstatic. He actually was very happy. He didn't want to cut his hair. He just wanted to leave a little stubble, and I said, "That's fine. We'll leave it like that." And eventually, he started cutting his hair like shorter and shorter. And I was like, "Look, now I could bring down the hairline." Oh, he was loving it. He was loving it. So my first client was my paid client.
How did you when you were did you do any free ones first? Any family guinea pigs or anything?
No, no family. I did reach out to, in my side of the family, that side of the family. There's a lot of all guys, and all of them were like, "This is against my culture. This is against my religion. I'm gonna look like a gangster."
Uh,
All this, all this stuff that you hear. No, God brought me into this earth bald, and I'm gonna go up. Bald. I go, Uncle, you're not. I'm not gonna stain you. I'm not gonna like spray paint you. Like
uh,
that's where the education and having gotten those no's and learning from what their concern was. Oh, believe me, I bombard people. I already start seeing the little twitching in the eye that they don't want to talk about. Oh, why not? I tell them straight out. I was like, maybe because I haven't educated you well. But here's my card. We'll talk later. Let me get your contact. And two guys did that. Is like, and one of them I kind of convinced. He's still kind of on the fence. And the other guy was like completely ghosted me. He didn't want to talk. He probably got too offended. But I take those no's and I learn from them, and mix the way that I approach people.
Good. I've ran into that situation too when people say it's their religion or something like that. These people were I think they were Muslim, and
Mhm.
what I tell them, this is something you could try too if you want, or anybody listening. I tell them it's not a tattoo. It's scalp micropigmentation, and the difference is we're staying in the epidermis. which is the
Hmm.
first few layers of skin, whereas a
Hmm.
regular tattoo goes down to the dermis. So
Correct.
technically, it's not a real tattoo.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it works. You know, it really
Hmm.
depends on how you look at it. It really depends on how you look at it
Yeah.
and sell it.
Yeah, because I have followers and I follow people from Muslim, on the other side of the world that get it. You see the guys getting it, and I'm like, okay, it has nothing to do with, I think, with not, being acceptable. But like you said, if you tell them it's just the first layer and it might fade away, but you might need a touch up, you know.
Yeah.
But I see it
Do
happening on
you
the other side of the world.
do you have a whole sales pitch for when you bring? So when you bring someone in for a consultation, I feel like that's something people you got to kind of learn that on your own, right? I mean, you can watch your mentor, but until you're one on one, alone, drawing the hairline, answering their questions, you're not really going to learn. So how did that go for you when you started bringing people in, talking to them one on one by yourself?
So what I do, like this gentleman that's coming in on Saturday, right? And then another one, he's on the fence. The ones on the fence, I talk to them very politely. Yeah, and I say, my time is very valuable, so is your time. This solution is going to solve this problem that you're having, whether it's bothering you or not. Come in, you know, will drop your hairline. I have hair fibers too that I put the hair fibers on that I learned from Chavo SMP, and I figured how to make it all nice. And then once they see the hairline, Joey, they're like, "Okay, let's get started." I go, "Right now, there's a consultation, but if you put down a deposit, let me get my book. I have a little book right there, a little calendar, like the ones that they give out." And I go, "Oh, I have one next week. Do you wanna sign up?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So let me, and then I run down the whole consultation, like the pricing, and then if they cannot afford it right now, they have cherry financing. I have my app right there. Believe me, Joe, I give them no options to say no. That's my
Good.
my number one thing.
Try. You can also use if you've created an LLC. Um, Try using PayPal credit as well. So with PayPal credit, I offer PayPal credit. They get
Ooh,
6 months if they're approved. So what you would do is you type up the invoice. Let's say 33,000. You send them the invoice for 3,000. If approved, they would then use that $3,000 to pay you, and then they have
boom.
6 months interest free to pay PayPal back. After that, they got to pay some crazy rate, but that's better than paying you in like 3 payments.
Correct, correct. And I love it. I love it. I bring
And you
them
should be
in.
able to qualify for it. You just go on, PayPalCredit.com as a business owner, whatever, fill that out. It should be
Mhm.
approved.
Okay, yeah,
But
because I
it's
did the
another way,
PayPal.
you know?
There you go. Yeah, options because maybe company A was not going to approve because they do a soft pull. Maybe company B will, and I'm definitely going to look. Oh, see, I learned something new.
And it's the good thing, it's interest free the first 6 months. I don't think Cherry
Yeah.
is interest free.
No, the
Not that
first,
I'm aware of.
yeah, the first 6 months, I believe, if they got good credit, that's the thing.
Okay.
You have to be, um, and then I'm gonna upgrade to 12 months, but I'm gonna look into PayPal because I want to give people option because maybe company, just like when you go buy a car, company A might not approve it, but company might do it.
Can I ask you something about Cherry? So I'm approved with Cherry. Here's my little
The placard,
whatchamacallit.
yeah.
Yeah, here's the
QR code.
thing. I've never used it because I don't understand. In the training, when I went to the training, I was like, wait, this isn't one on one. It was like a group training. And I was like, what the
Oh,
hell is going and he told me that you can't write an invoice. Like I was so confused about it.
what?
So I
So like like sorry to cut you off. The last
no
gentleman,
go.
he went through the website, he scheduled an appointment, and I was ecstatic because I knew my website worked and all my calendars. And then he's like, "Oh, and then I did the cherry and I got approved." And then I was like, "Oh, great!" And this is even before we did the consultation. And so I was looking through my phone. I opened up the app and it said right there, client um, X, Y, and Z got approved for 5Gs. And I was like, oh, great. And I hadn't given him the pricing yet. So then we
He
did the
was committed.
consultation. He was committed, yeah. I had done the consultation. He sent me the pictures, and he was just waiting for me to tell him the price. So I told him X, Y, and Z, and he's like, okay. So I went back to the website, to my app, and it said, he was approved for 5Gs, 5,000. And then I quoted him, blah, 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 right? and then I put in the number. I sent it to him, and he sent it back, and then the money was in the bank 3 days, 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
It was just bouncing back. The
You make it
invoice
sound
thing, I
so
want to look.
easy. I always have
No,
a
no.
pain in the ass dealing with it.
Yeah, see, I think once your client goes through it and it's connected to your phone, which I'm sure it was, you can't even like go through that process. You'll get the notification, and then you just agree. I was confused too. I was like, "What is this?" And I hadn't done the consultation. I had to call Gabriel. Precise. I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "Bro, just click, just send it back. Send it back. He's gonna, he's paying you basically, you know."
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's good to know. Maybe I will offer because I do think they get you more people get approved through charity than I think PayPal credit, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's
Gabriel.
good to know that people are using it because I hear that, and it's not that much of a pain because for some reason, I felt like he was like, you can't do an invoice. It's just you're basically getting a line of credit. And I was like, well, how do I know? How does the person know what they're signing up for? And like, because I usually write it all out on the invoice, right?
Hmm.
Adding density to the scalp, we're going to blend in an inch into your real hair,
So
create natural
maybe a
hairline, all that.
suggestion. Maybe a suggestion is just sending them the invoice, and then you throw in your quote there, and then they go ahead and do the cherry. Because I'm telling you, Joy,
On the
like
side,
it
like on a
seemed
separate thing.
a separate thing, yeah, because it was seamless. He's like, my client was like, okay, I said I did the cherry thing too, and I go, oh, we need to do a consultation, and then he did a consultation. I'm giving the price, and then I went back on my phone and I put XYZ. He got it. He sent it back to me. I approved, and then it said on my bank statement, 3 days is gonna be on there. And Gabriel, he's the one that said, keep Cherry. If there's other companies for you for your clients to do the financing, go for it. But he's like, I made really a good living with Cherry and keep it. They're very strict on what you can and can't do with it, meaning like you cannot do classes, you cannot put students on there. He's like, you use other stuff, use other
Yeah,
financing
yeah,
for
I
your
did see
students,
that. They did tell me that.
and
Now
do other
PayPal, you can
financing
do
companies.
students.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, I have PayPal account, and I'm gonna definitely sign up for that. I love that.
And you're
Thank
talking
you.
about Gabriel. You said from Precise SMP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I met him briefly at the Scalp show last year. I'm pretty sure, or maybe he sat next to me or something. I'm pretty sure. Does
Mm-hmm.
he have a cousin who also does SMP?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
Yes. Yeah.
cool
He
hair,
got.
tattoos, Marine
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. I remember him. He does good work as well. Um, what? Okay. So, what else do you? Anything else you want to call out?
Oh, like other artists, just like
No. No.
Jeff
No.
and
Well.
Cat. Oh, sorry.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to discuss in regards to SMP or any questions or how you see the industry? Uh,
Oh yeah, I have a few things. Yeah. So thanks, Joy. I enjoy this opportunity. So yeah, I know some artists, and I think I've done it myself at the beginning. Was putting down, not so much putting down the plastic, and hair transplant doctors. And now I'm seeing it more like we could work together with them because, I was invited to these two surgical centers, to be a part of their treatments, their post-op treatments. And even like the other day, we had a consultation for a hair transplant, but the gentleman knew about SMP. And this is a older gentleman. He's like, yeah, can we incorporate both? Because I want to have look and have volume on my hair. I don't want to deal with any more scars because he did his research about hair transplants, whether you're doing the FUE or the FUT. He's like, I don't want no scars. I want Robert to do, he goes SMP by Rob to do the camouflaging. I'm telling you, this older guy, he already knew the lingo. And the doctor and I looking at each other like, oh my goodness, he's more educated than anything, which is great,
did his
And he's like,
homework.
yeah, so basically is like incorporating these two industries, and having that relationship with them. I'm reaching out to any and every plastic surgeon in that area, to be honest with you, Joy. And I recommend that to anybody because, you guys we could give clients to each other, like with Dr. Milanes in Orange County. He goes, Rob, the gentleman wants a hair transplant, but he said no, he wants to do SMP, do hair density. The gentleman called me. I called him. He sent me the deposit. I went over there on Friday. We did the treatment. He was happy, and I still got two more treatments on him. So
Good. Awesome, man.
bringing these two industries together, I think is going to set this thing on fire because they already have the platform, they already have the advertising,
Uh,
and being a part of their not necessarily tagging along, but just being more communication with them and collaborating with them. I feel it's gonna increase this industry.
yeah, I agree. And also, I mean, you have that background of working with the other plastic surgeons. So if you really needed to, you could probably hit up your boy and be like, hey, could you vouch for me or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. This industry becomes more valued, more credible. There's not just one fad coming in and out, just like with microblading, right? We've seen from the beginning how I'm little by little I'm researching it, and my wife got it done, my mother-in-law got it done. I'm gonna take my mom to get her microblading. I mean, and little by little started growing and going into shops, into med spas, and then into high end, luxury
Yeah,
establishments, because that's what I feel like this is. This is a high luxury treatment,
I agree. Completely agree. And it's an investment in yourself and your self confidence, right?
Correct, correct. You cannot put a price on that. Mental health, I think, is a key aspect of, like, this addressing, somebody's scalp and giving them that hairline. And I've seen the pictures and the videos that you have. I want to capture that moment with my clients, but I'm so excited for them. I'm like, oh, and I forget to film them. One guy we did his alopecia, and you should
Yeah.
have seen how happy he was. I was like looking for my phone. Where's my phone? And I caught him a little bit. He's like, oh, can you do it again? He's like, oh, I'm faking it.
The problem is, a lot of people don't want you to film them. I'm
and
sure you've
that's how
run
he
into
was.
that.
That alopecia gentleman, he was like, "Don't film me, don't record me. Just you could block out my face." But I've been dealing with
I,
this for so
if
long.
you
So.
don't have it already, I recommend getting some type of marketing form. Really simple, saying, can I show your face, or do you want me to blur your
Mm-hmm.
face? Have an option, have them check it. That way, let's say you do post your face and they're like, I didn't say you could do that. Be like, yes, you did. You know what I
Yes, he
mean? It
did.
just covers
Mm-hmm.
your ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A good friend of mine in Texas told me about that. He goes, "Here, I'm sending you the copy. Take your name off of it and put it yourself, and make them sign, and you sign it too, and date it and time it."
100%.
Yeah.
Because they will, you just don't want to get yourself in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Rob, it's been great talking to you. Can you tell everyone how to contact you, your website, your Instagram, and all that sort of thing?
Yes. So the website is snpbyrob.com. I'm in San Dimas, California. And I also travel to other surgical centers, med spas, other artists' studios, um, wherever the clients need. And the phone number is 626-325-0040.
Great, great. And you want to say it in Spanish as well or
Mm-hmm.
say that part in Spanish for everybody
Uh-huh.
to contact you?
So, sí, para contactarme con información, me llamo Roberto Posada. En la internet y la website es snpbyrob.com y el número es 626-325-0040. Estamos en la ciudad bonita de San Dimas, California, y aquí estoy para su tratamiento de micropigmentación capilar.
Muchas gracias.
That's perfect. That was perfect. Perfect, brother.
No, hey,